So say we go get light and power. Them hustle so they can't get the power. But now they know they do anything with the power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power. Over naira. Still them talk say make we off mind. But thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you ladder. Oh, yo yo, my ego don't come. Oh yo yo, my people make we shout. Oh yo yo, my ego don't come. Oh yo yo. Man of the masses. Oh, yeah, yeah. My good and come. Oh, yeah, yeah. My good and the political. Oh, yeah, yeah. My good and come. Oh, yeah, yeah. This one not the off in mind. Oh, yeah, yeah. My good and come. Oh, yeah, yeah. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk. But thank God say my don't come. So my people make you laugh. Oh yeah yeah, my don't come. Oh yeah yeah, my people make you shout. Oh yeah yeah, my don't come. Oh yeah yeah. Man of the masses. Oh, yeah, yeah. My good and come. Oh, yeah, yeah. My good diary political. Oh, yeah, yeah. My good and come. Oh, yeah, yeah. This man not the off in mind. Oh, yeah, yeah. My good. Mayegun la wa mo la mo do. Mayegun diary. Mayegun la wa mo la mo do. Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ará yìí. Mayegun diary lórí Facebook lórí.
Hello there. Good afternoon to you, good morning to you, good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. And yeah, this is Mayegun live.
Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Bó bá ṣe eré, àní Mayegun máa wí. Ó sì tún ṣe eré, wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun diary political. Godfatherism.
Thank you so much for joining me. Share the broadcast. Invite your friends. Invite your not so friendly friends and tell them that Mayegun is here now. So share the broadcast.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí Facebook.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Lórí YouTube.
Mayegun ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ọba bá gbé wúrẹ́.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Mayegun ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Mayegun máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì.
Mayegun ti dé.
President.
I will not allow you to. Help me! 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 If they carry me, they go. We are not know. Help me! Help me! Help me! Help me! Help me!
Good evening to you, good morning to you, good afternoon to you from wherever you are watching from. This is Mayegun live, and on your screen, especially for those of you who have read the caption of this broadcast, you can make your own contribution accordingly by commenting. And at some points, I'm going to open the line for everyone to also call in to at least make one or two contribution. But look at your screen. This lady, she's called Amira. She tweeted this. right? It was about her being kidnapped from Abuja, precisely. So a kidnapper took her and 16 other people, and their location were shared. One of the locations is this. So where they are yet to, in fact, locate them as we speak. Since Nigeria is now enveloped and surrounded by all kinds of kidnappers, Fulani terrorists who have occupied most of all the forest in Nigeria, they struck again. This is not actually their first time as well that they are going to be doing this, especially the one that is the rider of this broadcast. The attack on a church in Abeokuta, Wasimi. So that happened 2 nights ago when they were doing their, what do you call it, their vigil. So, and earlier today, I think it's this, where the young people protested because the statement from the church, which I have a copy, I'm going to read that. But before that, watch this. Sorry for the quality of that clip. But the people you saw in that clip are the young people around Wasimi in Abeokuta. So what happened? I'll read the statement from the church before we go deeper. And this is barely 2 weeks after the attack on St. Francis Church, Catholic Church, Owo, where they killed unspecified number of people as we speak. For those who have counted the bodies already, they counted over 100 human beings, including children. So this one happened overnight. And this particular one happening in Abeokuta, the state capital of Ogun State, is not the first time. For those who have been keeping record, estates have been, estates have been jumped by this terrorist, and people have been kidnapped by this Fulani terrorist, and then ransoms have been paid in that same Abeokuta. It's just that if you haven't been a victim, you probably would say, well, it is not that bad. However, here is the statement from the church that got attacked. Celestians of all nations, I believe. So they say, Celestians all over the world, please, we can do this again. Let's join in prayers for the immediate release of Assistant Shepherd of CCC, Samuel Bilewu Joseph Oshofa Parish, Iwasimi, Abeokuta, Ogun State. According to the information provided from the parish, on Monday, 13th of June, 2022, night at exactly past 11 p.m., which is the only day and time the church premises have few members around, some gunmen invaded the church premises at Celestial Church of Christ, Samuel Bilewu Joseph Oshofa Parish, kilometer 27, Lagos Abeokuta Expressway, Wasimi Abeokuta, Ogun State, and abducted 2 persons, the assistant shepherd and the parish Sunday school teacher, away. And since then, they have been requesting for the sum of 50 million naira as ransom before they can be released. From all indications, the government have done serious surveillance on the parish to have chosen to do their operation on a Monday, Bible class day, when only few members attend Bible classes, and at the very hour of the late night. CCC, Samuel Bilewu Joseph Oshofa Parish, Wasimi, have been preparing for our 20th year's annual adult harvest and Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving service before this terrific incident. Let us join the family, parish, and friends to pray for their safety and immediate release. However, the insecurity situation of the country called for an immediate security guidance and church operation from the pastoral office. Our system of church management and operation shows how vulnerable we are as a church, and this will continue to endanger the lives of clergymen, women, parishioners, and their families if immediate strategies are not put in place. From records, all shepherds that have been kidnapped were 90% prophets, and yet nearly 99% of release were done with negotiations and payment of ransom. So why can't we start investing into security now? We cannot continue to open parishes like as at the time of 1947. The current situation called for an action. Then they sealed it up with a Bible quote. Luke 11, chapter 11, verse 21 to verse 22. So Luke chapter 11, verse 21. When a strong man, fully armed, guards his own house, his possessions are safe. Luke chapter 11, verse 22 read, but when someone stronger attacks and overpowers him, he takes away the armor in which the man trusted and divides up his plunder. So this is the message from the church, that the shouting and calling God alone is not going to save anybody, right? The other day I shared with you a few clips of how after the Owo attack, how people, the shepherd, the Baba, just everybody, even the choir mistresses and all of them, they are now harming themselves. There are videos about, different videos online in Ondo State right now. If you are going to church, you see people coming with their own guns and all of that as we speak. So churches are also going to begin to realize that the situation of the insecurity in Nigeria, which many of them, by the way, have decided to take upon themselves to fight back through encouragement of their members to go and register for PVC, so that they can choose a leader that will provide the security for them. On the other hand, this is a church that knows that even if you don't keep the record, the church in Nigeria keeps record of those who are their clergymen who have been kidnapped, right? And according to that statement, which is the statement of facts, there is no, or let me use them and quote them, 99% of those clergymen kidnapped in Nigeria under this APC, Egbekegbe, they were released after the church paid ransom. A church in Abeokuta, Celestial Church of Christ, they would have to cough out 50 million naira for the terrorists. So, but they made a statement which actually is so interesting. That statement is that if the church in Nigeria have been paying and coughing out a ransom to terrorists who have been kidnapping clergymen, mind you, 99% who were released by these terrorists, they paid the church paid ransom to them, right? The 1% who were never released and no ransom is paid were those killed who never made it out alive. And you read all of that in the papers all the time. And as I'm talking to you right now, see, the Nigerian military, they have a list of their own personnel being slaughtered like they are just like nothing. Soldiers slaughtered like nothing by these terrorists. When they give you the list, you will put a hand over your head. Now, if the church in Nigeria, if they decide to bring out the list of their clergymen, men of God, people who are closer to God, touch not my anointed and co, who have been kidnapped, if they give you the list, then so many of you will begin to pay attention to the structural, the structural damage, the structural faulty structure that you believe that you are trying to amend, where you want to hate everybody now. Whoever says anything that is not in any way good about Peter Obi, you want to hit them and chop them raw. But here is the fact. If the church indeed decide to tell you how many of their own clergymen have been killed, by the terrorists in Nigeria and those who were never killed, right? They will realize that this is no longer a diju ejagbadura. Close your eyes, let us pray issue anymore. This is no longer God told me he would do this and that anymore. The Nigeria that they have been managing, you see, before Buhari came, the managers, the gatekeepers of Nigeria, they have managed to balance in a way and hide the injustice within the system. They have managed so well so far until Buhari came and just put wrenches inside everything, like all of you scatter, pata pata. As divided as it is. So it is no longer the Nigeria of we are praying to God. God has God told me this and that. In fact, if those who are like church leaders in Nigeria, especially southern Nigeria, and most importantly too, the northern Christians, you can continue to pretend, you can continue to try to be politically correct, but here is the fact: blood of Jesus is not enough anymore. In this case, it is in fact going to make you blaspheme against your God and your faith, because you will be like, I called Jesus, he didn't answer. We called God. Would you say those who were killed inside the church, or those who were kidnapped inside the church, or those of you who are going to be kidnapped on your way back from church, or your clergymen who pray every 24 hours to talk to God and all of that, who are going to end up in the hands of a terrorist? They are going to pay ransom and the rest. Are you saying that they are not praying to the right God? That's exactly what the insecurity in Nigeria will make you believe now. Why? Because nobody can pretend and say God is going to do something anymore. Not in this case of insecurity. If you don't do something yourself, that's what that church said. Instead of giving your millions, 100 million. The other day, remember that prelate, the Methodist prelate that got kidnapped, and he paid 100 million naira to the terrorist between Abia and Owerri. You remember his story? 100 million. Many have paid 100 million, 100 million, 200 million, 300, here and there, 50 million. Churches are raising the money to free their clergymen. And that church just said that instead of giving this money to this terrorist, how about we go through the Bible verse that advised us, that is Luke chapter 11, verse 21, 22, when a strong man, fully armed, guards his own house, his possessions are safe. But when someone stronger attacks and overpowers him, he takes away the armor in which the man trusted and divides up his plunder. Yoruba land, for example, is under the plunderer, the attacks of the plunderers, the invaders. But for politicians, it is all talks, no action. So if the church can come out boldly and say, indeed, we need to harm ourselves too, that can be a beginning. Well, you start, I would say, because if the church members knows that they cannot pray their way out when the bullet from AK-47 is raining down on them, they will need more to keep the people safe. In northern Nigeria, this is where politics comes in. This is where politics is so important, especially with what they have made of that entire place right now. The confusion you see everywhere can be resolved by just one push, a push that says enough, no election until we resolve all of these differences. That's something that many of you are not paying attention to yet. However, if the church say harm themselves, and another person, meanwhile, your Baba Geos, your Mama Geos, your, every one of them who actually speaks to God on your behalf, they might tell you to pray and the rest, which I am not against it. I'm not. But you see the situation you found here, we found ourselves in that place, Nigeria now. And I remember saying it back then, and I'll continue to say it, that 2 years ago, so many things that you'll be reading and you'll be hearing happening in southern Nigeria, many of them that are happening right now, 2 years ago, many of you would never believe that they will happen, ever. But they are beginning to happen, and they are going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And then that means that as if you speak to anybody in Nigeria, correct, like common conversation, if you are not asking them to probably resist anything, just a normal conversation, they will tell you that Baba, man, nowhere is safe. They don't lie until you ask them probably to stand up and fight that. Then they'll be like, my friend, that one cannot happen. Then they, they go along their own different oppressors as much as they would love them in a way. But when I was reading about that attack in Abeokuta and Wasimi, I was pretty much like, okay, 50 million naira. Wow. If the church pay 50 million naira or invest in security and just let go their own people, maybe not now. If the church pay 50 million naira in Abeokuta and all across Yoruba land, yeah, we are paying that ransom here and there. For example, yeah, on those states, when they take you 50 million, when they take you there 100 million. So the same us that are likely going to frown at people who actually volunteer to say, we know the security system are compromised. You can tell. You are just on your own. And now that you are now in the last phase of Bokwari's murderous regime, you are completely vulnerable and open to all attacks. So many of you who actually took side with a compromised state, compromised system, to go after those people like Oluye Sunday Igboho, for example, when the system came after them, yeah, imagine it this way: you, especially many of you who actually sided with them, imagine a situation whereby this your 50 million, this your 100 million, and every other millions that you're going to be paying to kidnappers and the ones you have paid. Imagine if you have freely saw through what many people were saying then and said, your safety first before any position in that same Nigeria. Don't you think it would have been cheaper? The investment of, because this is how we see it too, in Yoruba land, when you pay ransom to terrorists, which you are going to pay, as long as we are vulnerable to all these attacks, when you pay ransom to them, you are funding the same terrorism that will continue to milk us and kill us. But imagine if all of us have agreed at the time and said, hey, this is our own security issue. You can play politics with everything. Oh, we have it on record there, and we have eyewitnesses who have been kidnapped. Many of them have been killed. We have evidence here. We have this and that. So when it comes to our security, please don't toy with it, Nigeria. The politicians played a smart one on you. So many of you said, it is none of Igbo's business. It is nobody's business. Even when some people came together and they went after Wakili. Remember Wakili? Those are the people who are like the ringleader of the kidnappers in Yoruba land. Many of you don't even know where he is anymore right now. Is he freed? The prison that they locked him in got, had a jailbreak. And today we are, for over a year now, we have been asking them to tell us and give us the list of those and tell us where Wakili is in their prison in Yoruba land. They have not been able to tell us. But when people rose then, and they said that they could defend them, they could defend Yoruba land, the system came for them. Politicians play smart one, gave you a Amotekun that is now checking your phones to see if you are a Yahoo boy or you are not a Yahoo boy. While as we speak,
you are now have to think twice. Should I go to church today? I don't know if I should. Now you have to get used to going into your different churches or workplaces and all of that. And you are going to get to a point whereby you're going to get used to seeing guns, security with guns, like they are preparing for war, attacks, and the rest. And guess what? All of that will still not in any way prevent or protect you, especially with what we have on ground now, when everybody is divided about, talking about the division. Security should be everyone's business. One of the areas that somebody like myself disagreed so much with the likes of Tifnumbu and Co. When they started Amotekun, the purpose of Amotekun was to prevent all this kind of activities. You know what I mean? Amotekun were supposed to be patrolling all of those forests. Do you know that there used to be the forest rangers in Yoruba land? The Ashogbo, they call them, the Ashogbo. Their job was to provide security in the forest. Guess what they were protecting? Back then, they were protecting the trees. For those who are illegally falling trees, in our forest, Ashogbo. So, which means if any illegal activity or any illegal drilling or any illegal thing at all going on in our forest, they can document them and they can mobilize against those illegal aliens. But Nigeria disarmed us, disarmed the entire this Fulani terrorists who are the gatekeepers of Nigeria. They disarmed us for a long time, and now it is paying off. Those forests are now freely occupied, and that was supposed to be the job of Amotekun. You were supposed to see Amotekun with serious, protective gears, latest ammunitions, solid and steady. You know what I mean? Being able to traverse every nooks and crannies of our forest. Now, they could have prevented these terrorists from freely strolling into any part of Yoruba land and then committing a crime. And then you and I continue to wail and say, God, come and help us. We have those who are so determined to, you know what I mean now? We have those who are so determined, but the resources is not with them. But look at the ones put together by the state governors. So in Yoruba land now, it is going to get to a stage whereby even sending your children to school or allowing your children to stay in the dormitory hostel as they call it, yeah? There are many of these vulnerability areas who are pretty much, vulnerable. And the way they do, somebody shared that with us on this program the other day. And it was like, it is so easy to walk into a town, befriend the people, ask questions. What is the name of your ballet? Where is his house? Oh, do you even have a police station here? Where is it? So if I want to, they ask questions from the locals to know the in and out. In fact, many of them are all these terrorists. They know the in and out of many communities in Yoruba land. And there are evidences of this. There are records of those who have come across them, and they told them verbally that they could strike and do anything, anytime, but nobody is actually collecting all these statements, all these eyewitnesses for security, at least to protect you who haven't become victims. Now you have been distracted by politics and all of that. Fine. But there are things that are going to happen that are going to make you realize why many of us feels like election is not going to fix that. Ask yourselves. I told you that APC, Egbekegbe, they want to keep the status quo. Exactly the way Nigeria is what is going to continue to be. So brace up, whether you vote for them or not, and you let them rig themselves in whatever they do. That is the plan. Just compare what it is going to be like if what you are experiencing right now is indeed multiplied by maybe about 10. And this is not even a joke. And guess what? The PDP, they have the same agenda. They don't have any plan to address all of these things at all. They don't have any plan. No security plan, no plan to tackle the terrorism, no plan to punish the terrorists, no plan to, nothing. It is pretty much about, even Peter Obi. That is where some of you as well will begin to know that not everybody is going to get carried away by the whole noise about Peter Obi. There are people who are actually going to be asking questions genuinely. Some of you are not going to be able to provide the questions because you have no idea what you are getting yourselves into, by the way. Nigeria is a divided place, you know it. You know that Nigeria, you have the north, you have the south. And you know that as it is, there are those who believe that the only way to keep Nigeria alive is to keep Nigeria, the status quo, the way it is. Whenever they talk about policies that can fix problems, people said that you should, watch out, people said that you should join them if you want to make a difference. And that is why they said that you should join PDP or APC, or you should start your own party, right? So the third option is that if you don't want PDP, if you don't want APC, and you want to get rid of them, you should start your own party. As if to say it is pretty much about the change of just change of personnel. That is what many of you are pushing. To you, change of personnel is going to fix Nigeria problem. To you. Meanwhile, you are coming and you are trying to revive a country that has become Islamic Republic of Nigeria. You have become Islamic Republic. That Islam is even like a specially defined one by the Sufis, Salafis, or whatever they are called, the terrorists you have and the jihadists you have there in the system. They are there. Their actions, their actions, their inactions, and every other thing on record, they have all shown to you the type of country they are building for you. And that's exactly that should be in your book of trying to solve Nigeria problem by changing the personnels. Even in your mind, all you need right now to get rid of PDP, APC is that once Peter Obi comes in, brilliant. In fact, you are suggesting that you should pick Kwakwanso, which is also a PDP stalwart. You don't care. But what you should care about is that even if you bring in, whether now your best, who is your best president or prime minister in the world, especially many of you have different parts of the world leaders to compare with, right? Who is your best? Bring them down to that Nigeria. You know why it will never fix and Peter Obi will never do anything is this. To fix Nigeria as you are planning to, you have to let those who come from northern Nigeria, decide and leave the type of government they want. You cannot take that away from them, right? Now, the people from the eastern Nigeria, which is the eastern part, you should let them also what? Live the life and then the kind of governance they want as well, right? Now, you will have to let the people of the western Nigeria as well to decide how they want to also run their own affair, because the problem of Nigeria is just one. It is because they fused all of us together and everybody is trying to be in control of it. And that control center was taken to Abuja. So which means that before you can even get anything done in that your local community, you have to send somebody to that Abuja, somebody who also have to at least make friend, lick asses and beg, crawl and pretend to be friends in order to be seen and heard. And whatever is given to him or her, the system allowed him or her to